Welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, dancer, instructor, and proud owner of a thriving belly dance fitness business. And in this podcast, I'm giving it to you straight, sharing what it takes to kickstart and grow your dance and fitness business for the success you deserve. Whether you're a seasoned instructor, a passionate performer, or dreaming of turning your love for dance and fitness into a thriving career, you're in the right place. Lace up those sneakers and pull on those dance shoes and get ready for truth smacks, tips, and inspiration. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, your host, and I've got a special guest here today. I met her. She's a new friend, but I've been following her. First of all, she's a kick-ass business person, and she is the owner of The Stage, and her name is Jessica, and she's here to talk about how to get pretty much paid what you're worth, how to get people in through the door, because like I said, everybody, you can't be the world's best kept secret, right? If you don't know how to promote, right? You got to get them through the door and then show them your talent. So without further ado, I present to you Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here. So let's get the show on the road.
So Jessica, you have The Stage. What is The Stage and what inspired you to create it?
So The Stage is my free Facebook group. It's specifically for fitness instructors to get weekly tips on the money-making side of fitness, which is not something a lot of people talk about. So I was very excited to meet you. Now, my goal is to help you make money without having to teach more classes. So the main topics that we do there is that I cover at The Stage is how to grow your classes, because that way you make more money without actually having to teach more. Pricing and packaging, because now you make more money per client instead of having to teach more. And then launching your own online programs, because that's a way for you to make lots of money without having to teach more classes. So that's what I do inside The Stage. And how it came out is that when I was trying to figure out how to make money as a starving artist, as a fitness instructor, there was a lot of behind the scenes concepts and things that I had no idea about. And it took me literally years to figure this out on my own. Things like how to promote your classes, branding, target audience, follow-up, what the heck is a lead, realizing that just teaching more classes or growing your classes is not going to be enough to hit $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 months. So all of that was things that I kind of learned through experience, and it took me a long time. And then once I learned them, I was like, well, if I didn't know about these things, I'm sure other fitness instructors don't know about these things. So I wanted to create a space where we could talk about these things more openly, right? And normalize this type of stuff. I would have loved it if I would have that back when I was learning how to, make a living out of this, and instead of just having extra cash or doing for fun. So this way we talk about, we open the space and we talk about things. We normalize, it's normal to double your classes. It's normal to promote yourself. It's normal to make an extra $1,000 without teaching more classes. It's normal to raise your prices. Scary. Yes. Normal. It's normal, to start going into the online space, to talk to people, to know what to expect from doing X or Y strategy. Because there's a lot of misalignment of what instructors think is going to happen to what actually happens. I'm going to post and my classes are going to grow. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So there's a lot of things that we need to talk about what works, how it's supposed to work, and what actually happens in the world. A lot of instructors blame themselves. And that's the part that I'm like, you're a fantastic instructor. If you're not getting enough people in your classes, or if you're getting enough people and you're not making enough money, it's not because of your fitness skills. It's not because of that. And a lot of instructors place guilt on them, like, oh, I'm terrible. People don't like my classes, or maybe it's my playlist, or maybe I should change formats. And there's a lot of self-guilt. And I was guilty of this. And I realized that it's not you. It's just a lack of skills. We just don't have promoting skills. We don't have marketing skills. We don't have pricing skills. We don't have business skills, and we don't have business habits. They don't teach that in the formats. In the formats, they teach you how to do the format. That's their job, right? And they do a very good job at it. But everything else surrounding that, that's kind of, okay, everybody figure it out by themselves. So, right? And it's like, well, if you just learn how to promote your class, you fill your classes. It's funny when I coach instructors and they're like, I followed what you did. And oh my God, I had one of my clients, she tripled her classes this August. And she's like, I just followed what you said. I'm like, I know, you learn how to promote and people come to your class. Amazing, right? Like, so it's not magic. It's just you learn the thing. Same thing with making money, right? If you're teaching classes and doing all this, but you don't have a money making vehicle because classes are very low paid. So it's hard to make $3,000 teaching classes. But once you learn the mechanics of money and you're like, oh, I made $3,000 this week. Yeah, I know. Like, because it's a skill. So it's not about you as a fit. You're wonderful. You're just missing some skills. Then yes, we love helping people, but you also need to pay the bills. So like, let's talk about that.
Awesome. First of all, thank you for normalizing that as instructors, we want to get paid. We want to make money. We don't have to just go into it for the love. We can go into it because we also want to make money. So thank you for normalizing that.
Now, it takes love to go into it, right? All of us, we start for love. I love interviewing instructors. And the first thing that I ask them is, why did you become an instructor? And the number one response I get is because I want to help people. But yes, we need to eat and pay rent and gas. And it seems like you either do what you love or you get paid. And that's kind of like the mentality out there. And it's really the artist mentality, right? You're either a starving artist doing what you love, or you get a real job, you pay the bills, but you're miserable, right? And it's like either or. And I believe you can have both. But you have to expand your skills. It's not going to be just you being good at teaching classes. That's going to get you what you love, but you're not going to pay the bill. Like, you need to expand and think bigger and get more skills to do that. But it is possible. So if you are an instructor and you want to help people, you need to be a profitable instructor. Otherwise, you're going to go out of business and now you're not helping anyone. So it's not even a selfish thing. If you still want to help people, you need to be in business and you need to make money and you need to be taken care of so that you continue helping people be healthy.
Yes, 100%. And we also have to normalize that business has to be part of the curriculum of getting certified in a format. We've got to normalize that too. It's got to be standard. Now, what was the moment where you felt like, to you personally, you felt like, oh my God, I've got to learn this stuff? What was the moment in your life?
Oh, that was a very specific moment. I had been dancing for forever. I had gotten into group fitness. I was teaching a few classes. So I was a stay-at-home mom and I had 3 kids. And so I was using these fitness classes as a way for me to just get back into shape, go talk to adults, adulting, things like that. It made me happy and my husband loved it. But ultimately, after 3 kids, we had to sit down and he was like, well, I know that you're happy. He was very supportive, but he had to be very honest with me. And he's like, so when are you getting a real job? Oh, that one hurt like, oh. And I was like, what do you mean? I teach classes. This is my real job. And that was a hard one to face reality because for a long time I was in denial. It was just like, no, I'm teaching my classes. My classes are doing great. I'm making money. I'm not even paying for a gym. But if I looked at the numbers, and I call it fitness math, and I do a whole bunch of fitness math. If I just do fitness math and I look at the numbers, I was making less than minimum wage and I was teaching a bunch of classes. So it's like, well, he's right. And, husbands have a tendency to be right. And engineers, my husband's an engineer, have a tendency to be very straightforward. They're very problem solving oriented people. And there is a problem, right? The real question was, how are we going to afford college for 3 kids with just 1 income? And every time that we had a road trip, we would talk about all these different scenarios and we really just could not figure out how that was going to happen. So that was what was stressing him out. And it was a cry for help. Like, where he was asking me for help. I have 2 bachelors, so 1 in business and 1 in dance. So really at any point in time, I could stop doing this thing that I love and literally get a real job with benefits and 401k. So what we did was we came up to an agreement, and it was like, by the time baby number 3 would go to kindergarten, either I made this fitness stuff work to where it replaces a part-time job, or now that I have my mornings available and all 3 kids are in school, I would get a part-time job. So that's really when I had fire under my belly to like, okay, I love teaching classes, but now I really need to make this work. So I tried all the normal things that you normally try. It's like, okay, well, I need to teach more classes. So I doubled the classes that I was teaching. That's when I started getting certified in more formats. I was teaching only Zoom at the time. Like, oh, okay, I need to make real money. Okay, let's get Aqua and Cycle and teach more formats and teach at more locations and get a pay raise. And now I'm getting, I'm asking for more money on this other place. And that's scary, but I'm going for it. And I didn't make it. So my goal was to make an extra $1,000 on top of what I was making. Because if I needed college money, in my head, $10,000 was a whole lot of money. It's like $1 million, right? It's like, what? But I needed to think at that level. So $10,000 that was 3 times, it's triple what I was making in a year teaching classes. So it's a lot of money for me at that time. So for me to wrap my head around that, I thought, okay, what if I can break it down into $1,000 increments? If I can just make an extra $1,000 and then just do that for 10 months, I'll make $10,000, an extra $10,000 this year. An extra $10,000, I can deposit that into a college fund. That's deposit on next year. I can make another one of those deposits. That's like, okay, I can really help my family with this. So that was my goal, how to make $1,000 in a single month without, however way possible. So one way was teaching teaching more classes. I didn't make an extra $1,000. So I was like, okay, next thing. So I started growing my classes. So maybe I just need to double the people that are coming to my classes. And that's when I learned that I was terrible at promoting my classes. Really good at teaching them, not so good at promoting them. And so that was a whole learning curve. It took a while to understand marketing, how to market your target audience, branding, how to talk to people, math, like all this stuff. And I made it work. So my classes doubled and then they tripled. That was awesome. I started teaching other instructors and then they started doubling and tripling their classes. It was great, but I was still not making $1,000. So that's when I learned that you can be really good at marketing, doesn't necessarily reflect in your bank account. So I was still missing another skill. So then I started selling something. And I got into the whole network marketing thing. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to sell something, I want to sell something expensive. So I started selling skincare. It was $100 the bottle, which I would never pay for. That was even over my budget. But I was like, if I'm going to I was terrible at selling. I was good at marketing by then, but I was terrible at selling. So I was like, if I'm going to get uncomfortable, I might as well get, paid a lot. So I did that for about 3 years. I started horrible as it. I did make some money, but I didn't make $1,000. So I was like, okay, well, I tried all the things. By this time, my schedule is full. I'm teaching as many classes as I can. I have as many students as I can because my marketing is on point. So all my classes had over 50 people. So the classes are packed. And I'm selling something expensive on the side. And I'm still not making an extra $1,000. So that was like, damn, that was when it was like, okay, well, either I can give up or I can think outside the box. And that's when I started exploring the online space. When I started selling the skincare, what I liked about that is that it was online. So I didn't have to have inventory. And anytime a client wanted an order, I just, put the order online and the company sent it to them. I kind of liked that because I have 3 kids, a minivan. I don't want inventory. So I was like, okay, I want something online because I don't want inventory. I don't want to have people over at my house. So it has to be something expensive because I don't have that much time. And I now realize that these $20 classes, $20 drop-ins, even the $100 bottle, because I only got half of the cut, 30% of the cut, wasn't enough. So it needed to be something, premium. But that's when I started exploring creating my own online program. So I started with a 6-week program that I charged $300 for that program. And in the first week, I made $1,500.
Wow. Why do you think? Why do you think you made that much money? Is it because, was it the time? Was it pandemic? What was it?
No, this was before the pandemic. And so the whole online space wasn't even something, I would have to explain to people what Zoom was because we would have our accountability sessions on Zoom and they're like, what's Zoom? And it's like, so for me, the pandemic was like, oh, great. They made my life easier because now everybody's familiar with Zoom. So for one thing is having an audience that already knows you really helps. And the way that I sold this one was actually not promoting. I didn't post, I didn't promote, I didn't send emails. It was all just very direct. the fastest way for you to make money, whether you want people to your classes or you want clients to your service or your program or whatever it is that you sell, is to just tell people one on one about your thing. That's going to be the fastest way. And then they say yes, no, or whatever. And you just go through the list. And some people will say yes, some people will say no, some people will say later, and some people will say yes.
Yeah.
So I had a list. I just went through that list in those 5 days. 5 people said yes, and I made money that week. So for me, that was like, whoa, that was more than I made. That was like, I was making around $500 a month teaching classes. So that's 3 months in 1 week. So that's when I was like, this is something I want to get good at this. Let's get good at this part. And from there, it just, I just kept getting better at it.
Amazing. So you said two great things. First of all, you already had the community to promote to. So I always tell like my Sharkey instructors, even if you're not teaching, start promoting on social media so you get that community. So when you have a class, you've got students. Okay? And the other thing that was really great that you said is that it was online too. You don't have to drive anywhere. You're saving gas money. You literally can roll out of bed if you want, right? And it's convenient for the students. Very much
So
so.
online programs, it's wonderful because you build it once and then it's there. So it's not like weekly classes that you have to show up, whether it's in person or online. You have to show up to that class every week. This one, you show up. I call it hustle whenever my instructors are creating their programs. It takes them about 30 days to create their program. But once it's created, it's done. Right? Your people can start doing your program while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're injured, right? So you don't need to spend time. You're not being paid for your time. You're being paid for your expertise and for your results. So I love that you don't have to teach weekly. It's online. The overhead costs you're not renting space. You're not you're not driving, right? You're not spending time moving from one place to another. I'm a mom of 3, so very mommy friendly, right? All you do once it's done is really build your audience, nurture your audience, and then drive traffic to that one thing, which you can do from anywhere. It really just takes your thumbs and your brain. That's what you use.
What we're missing is this is an on-demand platform. You're not teaching live virtual classes.
Correct. No, and this is different than teaching classes. So I get a lot of confusion. It's like, oh, well, I tried Zoom classes and I wasn't able to make money. Okay, well, teaching in-person classes and Zoom classes is not the same as teaching an online program. So if you're teaching in-person classes and you're moving to online classes, it's the same thing. You're going to have the same problem. You're not going to make money. Okay, or you're going to make very little money, or you're not going to make enough money, right? Because Zoom classes are the same as in-person classes. So they're going to be priced the same. If you want to go to the online program, that's a different product, not a different format, not a different way of delivering formats. It's a different product altogether. And that's what makes it premium, that it's not just, 4 classes of Zoom a week. That's not what we're selling.
This is excellent. So it's pre-choreographed a certain amount of time. So there's scarcity. There's a beginning date and an end date, which I love, because once they're in, they're in. But do people complain about the community point of it factor? Like they're not seeing more people on Zoom and it's just them. It takes that certain kind of student to watch.
Well, that's where your marketing kind of comes in, and your marketing knowledge and your marketing skills. Because you're not creating something for everyone. You're creating something very specific. So that's also why it's premium, because it's not for everyone. It's just for busy moms or women in the 40s or women over 55 or group fitness instructors, right? It's very specific. And because of the specificity, right, part of it is it's people who are people who are super busy, right? The stay-at-home moms, the ladies, most of my clients, their target audience are also women. So my target audience is women. So we all just like women live in the women's world. But they're going to be stay-at-home moms who have, a lot of kids. So going to the gym it's not a 1-hour endeavor. I have 3 kids. Going to the kids is a 3-hour project. It takes time to get the kids in the minivan, drop in at the daycare, do your class, shower, get them from the daycare, drive back. Maybe they skipped a meal or a nap. It's a 3-hour thing. For the busy mom who doesn't want to go to the gym, an online program allows her to do her workouts when the kids are taking their nap time. So they don't care about the community aspect. They want to lose their weight and they don't want to go to the gym because it's a whole ordeal. So they end up not going to the gym. It's women who are very busy. Maybe they have full-time jobs, part-time jobs, or some combination. So again, they finish their workday and then they have to go to the gym and then they have to go home and do dinner. It's a lot for them. So they much rather use their lunch break to do this online thing. So again, the community factor, it's not a priority for people who are doing online. So it's that type, you attract that type of people. But I teach you how to attract that type of people.
Love it. And also, it can be global, anyone from around the world.
Yes, and that's amazing. Like for example, the instructors that I help instructors from the US, from Canada, from the UK, from Ireland, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Romania, from Germany, right? Why? Because it's all online. As long as we're English speaking, and I do speak Spanish, but all my programs are in English, you can reach people from all over the world as long as that fit, right? That certain type of like, well, it has to be somebody who wants to do it online, doesn't have a lot of time, is a busy mom, or women, whatever your target audience is, and they want to lose weight or get strong or grow their classes or whatever the goal of your program is.
I get why in person is really like it's people love it, but online is also not going away either. So like you got to figure it out. If you want to make more money, you've got to think out of the box a little bit, right? So but talking about out of the box, now you're venturing into entrepreneurship. You're creating now this program. Did you have any limiting beliefs on like learning this stuff and how did you overcome it?
Oh my gosh, so many. All the fears, all the things. So a lot of like, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm charging too much? What if they say no? What if, they feel that it's not worth it? What if I tell everyone and everyone in the planet says no? A lot of what if situations and a lot of, I don't know what to do or how to do it. What should my program be about? What should I include in it? How much should I charge? How do I get it to people? How do I build my audience? How do I tell them about my stuff? How do I nurture them? How do I convert them? How do I, like, a lot of how to's. So all of that makes into the whole idea that this is something new. And for most instructors, the instructors that I help are most of them are seasoned instructors. So they've been teaching for 5 years at least. So that means that they're pros at what they do. They feel very comfortable teaching a class. So they're used to knowing what to do. So all of a sudden, you're placed in this entrepreneurship. Let's build a business or an online product, or like venture into, being an online business provider, and it's new, which means you're a beginner. And we forget what it feels like to be a beginner, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable not having all the answers to everything. So the way that I handle it is actually the what to do and how to do it is the easiest one, believe it or not, to handle, because all you have to do is find out someone who already did it, who has a plan, and do that. Don't reinvent the wheel. So if you don't know how to promote, find someone who's really good at promoting, who has a plan, a step-by-step something, and do that. Learn it, right? All of these things are just skills that you don't know how to do, and skills are very learnable. What's hard is trying to learn how to do something that you've never done before without learning how to do it, just by trial and error. That's going to be the longest, most frustrating road that you can take. And that's the road that most instructors take when it comes to promoting, right? It's like, I'll just improvise. I'll just post whatever, I'll just post my schedules and hope that works. You're not learning how to promote. It's very much like driving a car. If you don't know how to drive, well, you're not going to get to your destination. If you don't know how to read a map, you're not going to get to your destination, right? So it's learning how. You don't have to figure it out on yourself, but on your own. Find someone who already did it, who has a step-by-step plan, who you connect, learn their method. They already figured it out. Other people are going through that method. You figure it out. It's just like learning a new format. The what ifs are harder because those are a mindset shift. And that one, most coaches will handle some type of mindset within their programs, because if you're diving into entrepreneurship, you're going to have a lot of mindset shifts that you need to have. The way that I handle them at my time was I would get a lot of, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it's not a good time? Well, what if it's, and I had to learn to quiet that voice and say, okay, when it happens, I'll deal with it.
Right.
And that's how I just like, okay, what if, okay, when it happens, I'll cross that bridge when it comes to. And you know what happens?
Mm.
99% of the what ifs don't even happen. You actually do get people to say yes. You actually do make sales. People do come to your class. People do purchase your stuff. People don't get scared about your prices. You like all of all of these what if scenarios that were all in your head, and very few of them actually pan out. And the ones who do, we deal with them, and that's it.
Yeah, great. So tell me, when you're teaching someone, do you have a set system or set software that you advise them to use, or you working with what they have?
I work with what they have because that's how I started. So when I started, I did not have any fancy anything. I had 8 followers on Facebook. I did not have an Instagram. Um, I had no marketing skills. I had no budget. I didn't have any money. The whole point was to make money. So I didn't have money. I started with scratch. The first coach that I ever hired, I didn't have money to hire the coach, so I had to put it on a credit card because I didn't have money. So when I started, I was in the negatives, right? Out of this minus, he was like $5,000, so I was minus $5,000 at the time. So I couldn't afford a fancy website or a fancy email system or a fancy CRM or a fancy landing page. I couldn't afford anything. So I learned how to do it with things that you already have. So this is my philosophy to teaching new instructors how to launch online classes, how to launch an online program is we're going to make your first $10,000 using free stuff like Facebook, Zoom, YouTube, and email. That's how I made my first $10,000. So if you are using Facebook or Instagram, you're using Zoom, you're using YouTube, and you're using email, and you haven't made an extra $10,000, you're not missing tools. You're not missing a website. You're missing skills. That's what you're get good at the skills, and those things will serve you. And I have another rule. Once you can't upgrade until you've made your first $10,000. So once you've made $10,000, you've proven that your target audience is right. You have a program that obviously sells. There's proof of concept. You know how to build an audience. You know how to talk to your audience. You know how to nurture and convert your audience to the point where you made $10,000. Now you have funds to upgrade. So if you want a website to host your program, I have a couple of clients who are like, well, where can I store my program in an app? Right? I'm like, oh, let me tell you, now you can delegate, now you can upgrade, now you can have a system because now you can afford to pay $100 a month for whatever fancy software system that you want. But before that, even if you have the fancy system, if you don't know what to sell or how to sell it, you're not going to make money. So the first thing that you need to learn is how to make money. And you don't need fancy stuff. You need to know what to sell and how to sell it. So that's the skill that I start everyone with.
Wonderful, Jessica. Amazing. I love the fact that you meet people where they are with the systems they have, the software they have. I love that. Because whereas other coaches, they're affiliates for platforms and membership sites and this, and they suggest that. So this is great. I love it. You really meet them where they are. Um, Tell me, what do you find most successful instructors do differently from the rest? What is that one thing, or could it be many things?
Successful instructors don't do it alone. That's the biggest one. They had a mentor, they had a coach, they had a support system, they had one of those, or they had all three of those. But they did not figure this out on their own. So they're humble enough to understand that they need help. They are smart enough to understand what they need help with, where's the weakest link, and then they get help in that category. So if they're good at teaching classes and they're absolutely rocking it at teaching classes, they don't need more help with their class. Great. What do they need help? Marketing. Okay, they go find that, right? Or they need help packaging and selling. Okay, they don't find that. Or they want to expand online and they don't know how. Okay, they go and find that. They learn and they absorb, they execute, and they practice. The successful instructors also have grit. They get it done no matter what. So a lot of I don't want to call them unsuccessful instructors, but the for fun instructors, it's like, oh, but I want to do this, but I'm too busy. I don't feel like it. It's raining. It's sunny. It's out of my comfort zone. What if I'm too spammy? What if I'm and there's a lot of excuses, but the successful instructors do it in spite of that. right? I've had instructors who have been doing this even though their family went through a difficult situation, or they're sick, or their kids are sick, or everyone is sick, or they don't know what to post, or they don't feel like posting, or they have no idea what they're doing, or they're scared, or they're super nervous. They do it anyway.
Mm.
They do it anyway. That's not a reason not to do it or to postpone it. They do it even if they failed, right? Or failed, because I don't believe in failing. I believe that anytime something doesn't work, you learn something from it. One of my biggest lessons of and what's made me the most money were the times where I didn't make any money. And I learned from that experience. And I was like, okay, and the next time I did something, I did not do that, because that was a very expensive less life lesson that I learned. And then all of a sudden I made lots of money, because not because I was lucky, but because I learned from that previous experience. So the successful instructors do not give up. And that professionalism, when the successful instructors extend that professionalism to the business side and marketing side. So it's not like they're posting only when they have a class, only when they want to grow a class, or only when they feel like it. They post no matter what. They raise their prices no matter what. It's scary enough. Yes, they're still doing it, right? They launch their stuff. They have these conversations. They step outside their comfort zone, whether they had success with it or not. It's like, okay, well, we tried something, it didn't work. Let's modify it. They do it again. Okay, now it's better. We modify it, and then they do it again, right? So they're relentless.
Very, very true. And also I think, Jessica, this is a great time for someone to have a business, because when I was back in the 90s, I had nobody helping me. What I had to do, I had to have great and watch people teach, watch how people did it. Now you've got people who've done it. So it's so much easier now. So now we talked about successful instructors and what they do. Now, what do you think the biggest mistake instructors make when it comes to promotion?
Improvising. They
Right.
improvise their marketing. Something that I hear a lot is like, "Oh, I played by ear." When do you post? Oh, when I remember to post. When I have a class to post. I'm on vacation, so I haven't posted. What? It's like, no. Okay, they're improvising their marketing. Now, think of it as think of teaching a class. Imagine if you're going to teach a class that you've never taught before, a format that you've never taught before, a format that you've never even taken the class. And all of a sudden, you're going to teach that in front of people. You're going to suck. Versus you saying, okay, that's a format that I want to learn. You go take the training, you learn the training, you practice the training, you get a mentor for the training. The mentor tells you, what you need to improve, and you go teach a class. That class is going to be, the likelihood of that class being successful skyrockets, because you have the rules, the guidelines, the practice, the mentorship with it. And that applies to marketing. Just because you can see what other people are posting and marketing and promoting doesn't mean that you know what to do. The biggest mistake is instructors think that they are marketing their stuff. I'm posting my schedule. I'm posting class pictures. I'm posting, reels of me dancing, and thinking that that is marketing. That's not marketing. That's A, it's improvising, and B, you're just announcing. You're announcing your classes. Now, that's important. There needs to be some awareness that you're fitness instructors and that you teach classes. Great, but that's not marketing. So marketing is, spreading the word about who you help and how you help them. And you announcing a class, belly dance Wednesdays at 5, does not communicate that. It announces your class, which is important, but it's not going to get people who have been thinking about it to join, or people who have never thought about it. It doesn't shift their mindsets, right? Marketing is about shifting somebody's mindset and saying, oh, I think I should join that class, or I think I should lose weight. I think I need to get active. I think I'm going to, join that belly dance class. That mind shift, right? That happens in marketing, and marketing is designed. And when instructors completely ignore it, and it's like, yeah, I'm marketing. Well, that's why it's not working, right? It's like you're not actually driving a car, right? You know how the car works. Here's the handle. Here's how to go and how to stop. But really, you're just kind of messing around in the park. You're not getting anywhere. It's like, learn to drive.
Agreed. Yeah, I tell my instructors this, hey, Sharky belly dance class Wednesdays at 7 p.m., $15. That's not gonna make me move my ass and go into your class. I want to know, how is it going to benefit me? And also, copying someone's promotion doesn't work either because you've got to know your audience and how they like to be sold to. First of all, you got to know who your niche is. That's also, it's a work in progress. You
It
got to.
is. And what instructors need to understand, and this is what's amazing and fabulous about Facebook, and I love this, but it makes marketing a little bit difficult, is that everyone has a unique audience. So the audience that you have right now is different than the audience that I have. That's why if you copy my marketing materials or I copy your marketing materials and we post it, we're going to have different results because we have different audiences. So your marketing has to be curated, right? It has to be modified to you specifically. My marketing has to be specific to me. And, somebody teaching yoga, right? There's thousands of instructors teaching yoga, but there's just one you. So it
Yes.
has to be curated to you specifically, even though you're teaching the same format as, 50 other yoga instructors. So that's why copying somebody's promo doesn't really work because maybe it's working for them, or maybe they copied it from somebody else and they're also clueless about everything. So now you're copying something that doesn't work, but you don't know that.
And so when instructors say, well, okay, so then now what do I do? I think you really have to know who your audience is. What differentiates you from the other yoga or Pilates instructor? But that takes research. That takes work to know who you attract.
Yes. And the first thing that I do with all of my clients is we start week one is market research, always, because we need to understand who your audience is. What do they care? Right. Because this is why I only work with seasoned instructors. Because if you find out that your audience, they really care about weight loss, can you create something that's weight loss related using the formats that you already have? Of course you can. If you find out that they want to increase their confidence, can you create something to increase their confidence? Of course you can. If you find out that what they actually care is that they want to get stronger, that they're thinking about, building and stamina, they're in their 40s and cardio, and can you create something that's about strength training? Yes, you can. How about balance? If they're worried about balance or stretching or recovery, if that's what they care about, can you use the years of knowledge that you have and the formats that are in your skill bucket to create something customized to that? Yes, you can. So the better question is not what should you create, because you can create anything. You're a pro. The better question is, what do they want? Because if you create something that they don't want, they won't buy. Research, why do they go to classes? And then post about that. Solve a problem. Figure out what their problem is. Their problem is that they want to stay active and they don't know how. The problem is that they want to lose weight. The problem is they want to go outside the house. And like for me, back when I was a stay-at-home mom, I just wanted to get out of the house and out of my kids, So think about what is it, why they want to lose, want to lower their stress. Okay, then your class becomes the vehicle to do that.
Yes. So you really although you work with seasoned instructors, are you working with beginner business people? Is that it?
Yeah, so it's pro instructors, beginners online.
Gotcha.
So, because you've had the experience, right? And the reason I like pro instructors is because the first couple of years when you're teaching, I call it the honeymoon phase, right? It's just like, oh my God, this format is so great. There's such a great community. As long as I help one, everyone's so wonderful and so welcoming. And as long, I didn't have anyone in my class, but that's okay. I'll keep coming. And it's great. And it's wonderful. And we all go through that. We all went through that with our spouses as well, right? It's a necessary stage. However, you don't really get hit or start feeling the pain of showing up to class when they're canceling your class for multiple weeks in a row, right? Or driving 35 minutes to a class to only have two people, right? Or losing money driving to your class, getting two people there, and having you to pay the person to pay pay the rent, like losing money just because you only had two people, right? Until year 3, 4, 5, right? Still year 3, you're like, I'm gonna make it work. That's okay. But year 4 and 5, you're like, okay, I've invested, in formats. You've gotten your licenses, your certifications, your whatever wear, your shoes, your memberships to stay active, right? You've driven to places, like you've put in the work, the sweat, the tears, and you're still losing money. So then but you have all this experience, right? Your brain is still just like, or the instructors who have been teaching for 20, 30 years, right? Their body's now starting to feel it. I have a lot of instructors who are in their 50s or 60s, And it's like they still love what they do, but their body physically cannot take 17 classes a week anymore, right? Or they have bad shoulders or bad knees or bad shoulders and bad knees. So they need an alternative of how to make income without making income from their physical body. so, so it's about longevity, right? So it's about that. Mhm.
Very nice. And also, I tell my instructors, start doing the promotion now. I honestly feel that the promotion that you do now, you're going to reap the rewards a year from now from all that promotion. It's not going to happen instantaneously. You've got to give it the long haul. You've got to stay on the road.
There's a lot of misconception when it comes to social media because social media makes it feel like everything is instant. It's instant media. You make a post, you instantly make a sale. And that's not actually what happens. Somebody who actually purchased from you from seeing a post is somebody who has been following you for a while, which means that if you were consistent, this is not the first post they saw. This is probably post number 17. If you weren't consistent, then you're going to lose a sale because they're going to see you. Oh, that's cool. And then they're going to forget about you because you never posted again, or you posted once a month, right? So social media is very fast paced and very busy. So if you're not consistent and you're not standing out, that's why you need a brand, right? That's what makes you stand out. Then you're gonna lose it. But it's very important to start building an audience because an audience takes time. So you're not going to build your classes based on likes or followers. You're going to build your classes and your business based on relationships. Relationships take time. It's not, hello, want to buy from me. That's not a relationship. So you need to build those, they need to be aware that you exist. That's what social media does. It brings awareness. They need to first figure out if they even like you and vibe with you. That's what your social media does, right? And it's just sorting. And then they need to trust you, right? Do they trust what you're saying? Do they trust that if they said yes to you, you would take care of them, that you would solve their problem? So all of that takes time. And if you're not posting in a way that's consistent or in a way that speaks to them or in a way that's beyond just announcing your classes, you're not building relationships. You're building views, which is great and I still think, but you still need to transition to building relationships because what's going to pay the bills are going to be the relationships, not the likes. The biggest advice for instructors trying to promote themselves, I'm going to give you two. Right. One is to choose your platform. Instead of trying to be everywhere, I'm on Facebook, I'm on a Facebook group, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm sending emails, I'm on TikTok, I'm like all of these things, it's spreading yourself too thin, right? So instead of doing that, choose one platform that you're going to focus on and just say, Facebook is going to be the place that I'm going to build an audience for my classes or for my program or for my brand, for your thing. Choose one place. Find a coach, and if it's Instagram, find an Instagram coach. If it's TikTok, find an Instagram, somebody who's an expert at that platform so that you can learn all the behind the scenes. I literally had a coaching call with one of my clients today, and she was just like, I had no idea about this rule and this rule and this rule and this rule, all about Facebook. And I know. That's why you join this program, so that you learn all of those things. And the next rule from that one is going to be to promote a problem. Do not promote a class or a program or a product. The class, the program, or the product is the vehicle of how you solve a problem. But if you're not promoting the problem, then the vehicle doesn't make sense.
Give me an example of promoting a problem.
So if the problem is that your people want to have less stress, and that's why they join, this is why the market research is important, right? What's the problem that they have? Let's say that they join your classes because, oh my God, it's so great. And I just relieve stress and I'm not feeling as stressed. Okay, so the problem is that they're stressed out. So then in your social media, talk about being stressed, right? And I'm so stressed as a mom. Oh my God, all the kids, I'm so stressed at work and all the meetings. I'm so stressed, the economy. I'm so stressed about the traffic. I'm so stressed. I love this class where I just let it all go. Now the class becomes a solution to that problem. Right. In my case, what's the problem that I solve? The problem is instructors are not making money. So what do I do on my social? I talk about not making money, right? The problem of teaching a bunch of classes and your paycheck is like small, of growing your classes and it's still not enough, of doing all of this posting on social media and you're still not making $10,000. I focus on the problem and what do I do? What does my program solve? That problem. So on social media, you would track what you talk about. versus you talking about cats and then showing them a weight loss program, or you talking about, I don't know, a schedule, but then, okay, what are they going to do? Like, they don't see how this is going to help them lose weight, get strong, be less stressful, lower their depression, be less anxiety, be a happier mom, a happier partner, but they don't see that.
Absolutely. This is the way promotion is, folks. Promotion was different 10 or 15 years ago. Now we're so inundated. So you really, really need to attract those people and what differentiates yourself from the others. Hey, Jessica, this was amazing. Please let my listeners know where they can find you. Everything, all the deets.
Yeah, I can talk about this all day long. I do talk about this all day long. So there's two places that you can find, well, a couple places. So first of all, of course, it's my free Facebook group, The Stage. So go check that out. There's going to be a link somewhere around here so that you can click that and join that. And you can also send me an email. My email is coaching@jessicaholgan.com. If you have any questions regarding this training or any training, just send me a questions. I love answering questions. The successful instructors ask questions, okay? Because they don't do it alone, they ask questions. So do that. Literally, this is what I do all day long, is just answer questions. So do that. And I'm also going to give you a gift. I'm going to give you a 2-step workshop on how to get 5 clients to your programs or 5 students to your classes without posting. So this is going to be a PDF format so that you can download it instantly. You can give it a read. Please give it a try. Like, literally try it out. You don't have to post. It's very behind the scenes, secretly, because it's just you and the other person. This is literally how I made, the $1,500 that I said in 5 weeks. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want to grow your classes, this is how you can grow your classes. If you want to sell your program, this is how. If you have a product, this is how you do it. So I'm going to give you the what to do, the how to do it, the what to say. I'm literally going to spell it all out. I want you to get at least 5 students into your classes or 5 clients into your programs using this system, because it just works. Okay, it just works. And you'll never know if you don't try it. It might stretch you outside your comfort zone. Do it anyway.
Yes. Thank you. That'll be all in the show notes. Jessica, I would love for you to take us out with our signature outro.
Okay, folks, until next episode, go and kick ass.
Thank you.
That was so much fun. Oh my gosh.